Hey ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. Ralph's Automotive. I've got something a little bit different for you today. We're going to talk about, we're going to install an airlift ride control. I opted not to get the bags. Here's the reason why. I have a trailer. I got me a car hauler. And I added a winch, a battery, electric jack, and all that ended up making the tongue pretty heavy on it. So when I hooked it up the other day, I thought, you know what, I'm going to check into a set of airbags and see what's out there, see what's available. And generally you can find pretty good install videos on it, and they got a few, but not the whole process. I figure I'm going to go ahead and make that video, and I wanted to actually compare the time. I think the claim on a lot of the retailer sites is that you can do this job in 2 hours, and I highly doubt that, truth to be known. And here in a minute, I'm going to switch back over to the camera and we'll go out in the shop. I've done one site last night, so we're only going to do one side. I'm going to step through there. I'm going to show you what you have to do. It's really simple. Unfair for me would be, well, let me rephrase that. The only thing about the time claim, what would be an unfair comparison with me is the fact that I do work like this, and I have a lift. I have a lot of tools that you may or may not have. So whatever, not that there is a lot of tools required, but there is actually not. You're looking at a 13 mil, some drivers, and I used a crescent wrench on a nylon nut for the airbag, and some 19 millimeter wrench. It's basic stuff. Nothing too fancy. But anyway, I'll tell you what I got, and talk about it for just a second, and then we'll head out there in the shop and actually do the install. So like I said, I purchased the ride control, which is only 2,000 pounds, and the reason I did it, it's really not money reasons. Money had nothing to do with it, or expense had nothing to do with it. My truck's a half-ton, guys. To put 5,000 pound airbags in it, that's a little bit asinine, because that truck doesn't need that kind of tongue weight on it. It's silly to do that. So I went ahead and bought this ride control, and this thing here, it's a 59565, as you can see on the screen here. It comes with what you see here, and this is basically a little bit of a diagram how this looks. This is what you have to do. Of course, this bracket here is a little bit different. I don't know, if that's something that's been modified or whatever. It doesn't matter. Anyway, the bracket looks a little bit different. It's very, very similar. So don't let that part of it fool you. We're not. Oops, didn't mean to do that. Let's see what we got here. Well, there you go. That's actually a better view. Pretty heavy duty stuff. This bracket right here is made out of 1/4 inch. So that's pretty heavy duty, and of course you got the airbags. Here's the saddle for the bottom, and you see here how this little thing actually cradles your spring. So, and here, guys, this is what I opted to do, the 7200. This is the control unit. I opted to go wireless, and the reason I'm doing wireless is I don't want to drill holes in the cab and have to run gauges and all that stuff. On this system here, everything is controlled through this wireless control unit, obviously. So there is no drilling and mounting gauges and all that. So you got the control unit you can clip on your visor if that's what you want to do. Well, just like this guy here's got, clip it on your visor if that's what you want to do. Default setting on it is 5 pounds, I think. That's why it starts, and I don't know, 95 pounds. I think it goes all the way to 95 pounds. This is a dual system, so meaning that this thing here can be independently adjusted to or go from one airbag to the next. That's what I was trying to say. But anyway, so I don't see anything else here of use, so we'll end this part of it right here and head outside and get started, at least on the other side, and we'll get a good video going. I'll explain some stuff on the way. Alright, good enough. We'll head outside. Alright, so I'm not going to go through the whole thing, package wise and all that good stuff. I'll talk about this for just a second. Got some parts, of course, here that need to be installed. This is life size. This is what it is, and what it amounts to is we're going on the other side of the truck. Actually, we'll have to slip this on the frame, and airbag goes to the top over here, and I'll show you all that when we get there. But basically, really, what it amounts to is, like I said, this was my idea here was to give it a little bit better support in the back when I put my trailer on it. Let's walk around here. So right there is one of them installed. Should have plenty clearance, I think, with my tire and everything. I don't think it's going to hit anything. And of course, we're going to head around the other side. We're going to head to this side here and hopefully get some decent video. I don't know which way I'm going to position you. We may have to go to the other side. That's pretty close to the AC, so I don't know if that's going to work. We'll figure it out here in a minute. So I'm going to go ahead and get the tire off. So what's got to happen, and let's do the bracket first, and then I want to get into the compressor part of it. But anyway, the old bracket for the ABS wire, that comes off. You have to take it out of the frame. This is the hole I think I'm going to utilize for our little loop bracket that they give you with it. I'll show you that in a minute. We'll have to put a bolt through here to the hole. That hole here goes all the way through the frame. It ends up, you maybe see my finger wiggling right there. That's where the hardware goes. So let's do that. Get that bolted on there. Like I said, a little bit time comparison wise, it's a little bit unfair for me comparing time, because most people are not going to have a lift, and takes you a little bit longer. But then on the other hand of it, a lot of people are also a lot younger than I am. So anyway, let's go ahead and get some parts over here and get some of the tools over here. Okay, as I was saying, we'll remove this one here. This will split. Let's see. we'll use that same location for our clamp. We've got to get the bolt and washer they want you to put in there. We got to get it in there. Sorry about my noggin being in the way. So we'll have to have that in there. And actually, I think I left the hole is pretty good fit, so I left the washer off of it yesterday. I found it to be easier, but anyway, we'll take our bracket and mount our bracket, and it should fit just like this. So that being said, we'll try to find a hole over here and get that bolt in there. Like I said, it's a pretty good fit. It does. I don't think it's going to turn. Used a magnet yesterday. That seemed to work pretty good. Sticking a magnet down in there, rather than me trying to hold it in place. So that over here. There's a nylock nut that comes with it. I'm going to have to get in front of you guys. If you pull, when you put it up there, if you pull forward a little bit, that'll hold it in place for you. That'll pinch it for you. Sorry, noggin is going in the way again. So here we got this metal sleeve, got a carriage bolt that goes through there. So that carriage bolt obviously comes out the other side. We put the sleeve on it. Hope that makes sense. And what that does is so it don't collapse your frame. Sorry about that camera there. I just don't have a better spot. And then we got this giant steel washer that'll go on the back side of it. And of course, last but not least, be careful not to pinch your ABS wire, by the way. Last but not least, we've got this nylock nut that goes on it. Now, to explain this, the way this thing is cradled, the way they made this, these bolts are not load bearing. So I don't want you to get confused with that. They're absolutely not load bearing bolts. So what I mean by that is they built a cradle. When you pressurize this, see, that bolt means nothing. All that bolt does is hold it in place. That tightened up perfectly fine. So we'll head to the back side here. So now the bracket is on there. So now we're going to work on the bottom saddle. And what you're going to want to do is this lip lays over your spring like this, and it's cradled back here, so that can't go anywhere. But before we go get into all of that, we're going to have to put our airbag on. So use a washer and the bolt that's applied. We'll go down here. We put this on. Now later on, this bolt here cannot fall out, and you don't want to tighten this. There's a reason for that. We'll get into that in just a minute. So we have this cradled over here. So you're not going to get it 100% perfect. So it'll have to sit up like this for now. And actually, we can pull out a little bit. Okay, we'll pull out on the airbag a little bit, and that'll give us a little bit more. So this is what this is designed to do. Now we take our shackle, our U-bolt, go over the top of this, put the saddle on the bottom. Sorry about that. This one here is sprung a little bit. I'm assuming they have multiple applications because it's a little bit on the long side, so not to worry, be okay. Oh, I did forget the whoops, see, got ahead of myself now, and I forgot about the we'll slide this out of the way for right now. Forgot about the ABS wire. I just told you guys about the ABS wire and I forgot about it, but anyway, not a big deal. Here's what you get for it. Whoopsie. So we'll take that nut bag off. Not a big deal. We'll have to get that. You're going to have some pliers. We want to mount it like this. Hopefully we can see that. That's how I want to mount it. We'll push that in here, and we'll have to help that clamp along a little bit with some pliers. Squeeze it together because you're going to have a hard time starting that bolt if you don't. We'll get that in here and get it pushed together pretty good. So kind of go in an angle right there so it's out of the way. So we got this mounted back up. Shouldn't be in the way of the airbag. It still looks okay. Trying to get in a hurry here, so miss stuff. But anyway, I'm going to go ahead and tighten our now locks up. I'm sure they make these things for multiple applications because that U-bolt you're putting on there is super duper long, so you have to have some kind of ratcheting wrench or something, you know, to take up slack. If you got extra deep sockets, that'll work. I probably got some. I ain't worried about it. Takes a couple of cranks and we're gonna be there. Get my head out of the way, hopefully. So, get out of the way. The reason we left that airbag loose is we want to be straight right here, guys. We want to be somewhat straight. So if you move it all the way over so you see what that does to the airbag, that's obviously not a very good install right there. So we want to go ahead and have this fairly straight, you know. I mean, it's not going to be perfect, but that's pretty close right there. Good enough. Go ahead and tighten the U-bolt up the rest of the way. The way this system is designed, you know, like I said, there is no load bearing going on any of the hardware that they give you with it. So be rest assured you don't have a problem there. So at this point in time, we take our, take our nylon. This is a nylon nut. That's the one that I said I used the crescent wrench on. Find the wrench for it. I don't know what size it is, didn't care. Opted to go with the crescent wrench. That was the fastest solution for me. I can't tell you, you have to have a 10-inch. And this is a nylon nut, so you don't want to tighten up on it. You tighten up on it, you're going to strip them threads, I guarantee it. So here is the fitting that goes on top. That's a push lock. It's already got your sealer on it. So we'll get that started. I guess I could have done that before I stuck that up there. But anyway, 13 is what I used on it. 1/2 inch, 13, whatever you got. This one will go all the way down to the brass. I'm going to help hold it here a little bit. Now this is a swivel fitting, so there's no particular point you have to turn it to that it'll swivel and come around. So basically, in a nutshell, guys, this is it for the back. So that's what you have to do. Now the airbag, in case you didn't catch that, it will pull out. You know, it'll come out. It'll lift higher than what you got here. So I don't want to get that out too far. I wanted to show you. So I'm going to straighten this up again, make sure that's almost level there, whatever you can call it. And we'll go ahead and tighten up on the bottom. Now that we know it's where we want it, where we like it. There's a brass insert in that plastic right there. So again, do not tighten that up. This cannot go anywhere. You know, as a matter of fact, you could leave it floating and it'd be fine. I just don't want to leave it floating on purpose anyway. So airlines. So you get an amount of airline with it, and I'm not going to show that part to you. You know, find your spot to route this. The airline pretty clean. I'm going to go along the frame, and actually I'm going to go around the other side, and we'll talk about something. We'll talk about something else there. What in the world are you doing? Really? Half on the concrete? I don't know about it. But anyway, we'll go over here with the camera. So the thing that I don't like is what Airlift wants you to do is they'll give you a mounting location on the frame. You know, they'll give you a bracket to mount this thing to the frame. I don't like the idea of mounting that compressor in the frame. This truck here has a second battery tray, or a tray for a second battery, I should say. I'm going to put that compressor and the control right here. And the reason I'm going to mount it right here is just to keep the breather, the little breather that's in front of the suction on the compressor. You know, they'll tell you you can use an air hose and route it up someplace where it's in the dry. Well, you can screw it straight into the compressor if you mount it in here. The only problem you're going to have with that, and I'm going to tell you the truth now, the airline they give you is not long enough. They're not in any shape or form long enough to do this job. So odds are you're going to have to go get you some more of the air hose. I have connectors here, so I've had some of those connectors, and I've got airline as well, because it's the same thing. My tire machine utilizes the same stuff. So anyway, I've had it here, so keep that in mind when I'm installing this compressor here in the front. So I'm going to go ahead and route this air hose. This is going to take me, I'm going to say it's going to take me 15 minutes to get it routed and tied up real good to make sure it don't rub and all that good stuff. So I'm going to turn the camera off for that. I'm not going to try to crawl around underneath and bring the camera along with me. So enough talking, more doing. In case somebody wonders, unfortunately, I'm going to have to use one of this. This is a quick connect, what that is, the push lock type. So that's what you have to have. And the hose this utilizes is a 1/4 inch airbag hose, called other things, nylon hose, whatever. This is the stuff that you want to order. That's what you want to get. So like I said, this is push lock, and all that does is you shove down on it and you hear it clicking, and it's on there. And these can be undone by just simply pulling on the back side of it. All right. Well, like I said, you're going to have a problem with the airline not being long enough. I'm coming up in here, and here's what I'm going to do. This is the control part of it. This is the air inlet. They got this bracket they give you with it, and I'm going to set that right there. There's a drain on the bottom for your inlet to drain moisture out of it. I'm going to set that right on the lip here, and of course, this being a Chevrolet GMC, you know, that we'll have that option to mount it right there. That's where I'm going to go with mine. And air compressor, you see it right here. We'll go from this hose, we'll go straight into that right there. We have to cut us a little piece of the line, and the out is on the opposite side. So all we got to do is plumb her up right there, run our air hoses, secure them, make sure they don't go anywhere. So I'm gonna go ahead and do that. I'm not gonna have a camera up there because I don't know how to set the camera so you can see what I'm doing. You're getting a couple of self tappers with it, and so hang tight. Oh, I went ahead and installed my pump, bracket, all that good stuff. Let me turn this camera a little bit. Tripod is hard to maneuver sometimes, but anyway, I got my fused power going into the relay mounted right there. Took my ground off the frames because this is all clean here. Installed the control box right there and the air compressor right there. Obviously, as you can see, that's got vibration mount, so it's on rubber. Not terribly loud. So anyway, I still got to check for leaks. But other than that, this is pretty much done. So we got 10 psi, hit to 20. The truck is coming up in the back, just in case you're wondering. Doesn't take that much air, but we've got 20 psi now. So, like I said, this system here is individually adjustable. So this is together, then this is on with this side. So if we had an uneven load, we can bring this side here up. Or, well, wait a minute. No, don't want to do that. It bleeds it back out. There's a dump valve in action. I have to read the instructions on this. Sorry about that. But anyway, I may take the camera outside, hook the trailer to it, and see how much air it would take to lift it. I guess that would be interesting to see. I don't know that I'm going to invest the time because I'm a little bit on the busy side. I want to get this done. Install time, maybe 2 hours. It may be 2 hours. Yeah, I've been about 1 hour and 45 minutes. Of course, there's some odd and end things. It's not straight up just getting it done, you know. Including the time that I had yesterday, and you see in the beginning of the video. I'll have to look at it myself when I edit it, but anyway, I'll try to give you a better idea later on of how long it actually took. I can see it by the video somewhat. It took me about, like I said, I think about 15 minutes or so to run the air, that second airline. I'm going to assume the first one is about the same. I did run the airline through the frame, the bed frame. I'm gonna have to kind of flip that camera here, and hopefully we can see it. Yeah, I'm gonna have to flip the camera. That spot right there is what I did with it, and I slipped because of the sharp edges right there. I slipped a 3/8 air hose, a 3/8 fuel line. I slipped it. I split it in half. You know, got a section, and I slipped it over that 1/4-inch air line so we don't shave it on the edges there. So anyway, guys, I'm gonna shut the camera off here. Like I said, this install is about done. I've got to check for leaks. Not going to bring you along for that. I mean, that's self-explanatory. Get you some water and some soap and soak her on down and make sure you don't have no major leaks. Make sure everything is plugged in correctly. But that's the long and the short of it. One thing to add, I'm not too awful worried about it, but if you if you're worried about or if you have a leak, I'm trying to talk and think at the same time. If you have a leak in the system, keep in mind where you're getting your power from. Make sure you have a key on power, because what's going to happen if you hook this directly to the battery is if you develop a leak somewhere in the system, that compressor will just keep on running and try to air up the system. So keep that in mind. That system stays alive, it's going to try to pump up. You know, so just something to consider when you're doing this job. You know, this one here is actually wired direct. I'm not too worried about it. I'm going to see what kind of drain I'm getting out of it. If it drains too much, I'm going to be changing it. This was convenient to pick it up on a stud right here on the side, but anyway, I will go to a fuse power if I have to. So that's the only change I might make. I figured I add that in there because somebody is surely going to catch it and say, oh, hey, wait a minute. But anyway, I'm going to turn the camera off right here, and I might bring you along when I hook it up. Final thoughts on it. So I went outside. I backed the truck up toward the trailer. The trailer is sitting, the jack on it is on a big wooden block, like a 6x or 8x even. So it doesn't sink in the ground. It's that wide. I did notice right off the bat the 5 psi in the bags. I'm not going to like it too much because it has raised my truck, and I can clearly tell it. I'll have to look at the control unit, the manual for it, and see what I can and cannot do with it. Haven't done that yet, so I really don't know if you're able to shut the system down or not. But anyhow, the long and the short of it is, you know, I do like it. I put the trailer up on the hitch and let down on it, and even with 5 psi in the bags, it didn't move that, didn't move as much as it did before without the bags. Okay, didn't move anywhere near as much. So anyway, that being said, like I said, so far so good. I like it. I don't like the part where it lifted my truck because I had my truck sitting level. I'm gonna cut her off right here, guys. I'm gonna let you know in the description how long it actually took, my really close estimate on that, so you know. And till next time, like, subscribe, do what it is you do.